The Venezuelan delegation to the dialogues with the United States denounced Washington's non-compliance with the agreements signed during the talks held in Italy and Qatar. In Palestine, during the 195th day of bombardments against the Gaza Strip, Israel has killed almost 34,000 Palestinians, while the number of civilians wounded exceeds 77,000. And in Thailand, at least 160 people are reported injured after an ammonia leak at an ice factory in Chonburi province. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The Venezuelan delegation to the dialogues with the United States denounced Washington's non-compliance with the agreements signed during the talks held in Italy and Qatar. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Venezuela, Iván Gil, affirmed that the sanctions are illegal measures and that the last decision is one more breach that seeks to damage the Venezuelan economy and the electoral process, but that it will have a very low effect. Hill pointed out that the U.S. is a government that has no word, that mocked the interlocutors and the counterpart, demonstrating that it is impossible to reach agreements with someone who breaks his words. The diplomat assured that these measures will not have much effect on the economy of the Caribbean country and that he rejects any pretensions of control by the White House.
The government of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela once again rejects the pretension of the government of the United States of America to monitor, tutelage, control and manipulate the Venezuelan oil industry through its illegal policy of imposing coercive measures and licenses. Practices in accordance with the colonialist vision that the free and sovereign people of Venezuela will never recognize and accept. Yesterday, the government of the United States consummated its policy of violation of the commitments assumed under the facilitation of the State of Qatar, signed between the Undersecretary of State Brian Nichols and the President of the National Assembly Jorge Rodriguez, last September 28 in Doha, which implied the complete elimination of the illegal unilateral coercive measures at the time of the convocation of the constitutional presidential elections.
Also in Venezuela, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Iván Gil, on his social network X posted a statement issued by the Venezuelan government rejecting the illegal policy of imposing coercive measures by the United States government, which seeks to monitor everything related to Venezuelan crude. The minister stressed, Venezuela once again rejects the pretension of the government of the United States of America to monitor, tutelage, control, and manipulate the Venezuelan oil industry through its illegal policy of imposing coercive measures and licenses practices in accordance with a colonialist vision that the free and sovereign people of Venezuela will never recognize and accept. Venezuela hosts the Encounter for a World Social Alternative organized by the Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of Our Americas People's Trade Agreement, ALBA-TCP. More than 500 national and international guests will debate and propose an agenda of concrete actions to confront imperialist actions during a gathering that aims at unity among the peoples based on the principles of solidarity for the consolidation of a new social alternative. The main activity of this first day is called the Principle of Unity as the transforming element and will be headed by the Executive Secretary of ALBA, Jorge Arreaza. The closing of the event will be on April 19th, when the meeting entitled Hyper-Imperialism and a World Social Alternative is set to take place. In Ecuador, the current situation of uncertainty is increasing. The declaration of a two-day holiday has not prevented the private sector from continuing with its regular activities. Our correspondent Elena Rodriguez brings some details from the streets of Quito.
Hello, President of the country decreed a national holiday on Thursday and Friday. Many sectors, especially the private businesses, decided not to take this holiday. but to continue with their work. In the public sector, there is no retention for the moment. Classes are also suspended, but we must insist the commercial work in this capital continues. Although the government has stated that during these days it will try to alleviate the serious situation. The dramatic situation that the country is going through regarding the energy crisis, which has led to blackouts of 8 hours a day. Even in some localities, 13 hours of outages have been reported. Also, we must say that according to the Secretary of Communication, Roberto Isurieta, this will respond to a sabotage, to a boycott of the popular consultation, versions that have been discarded and rejected by sectors opposed to this consultation, and that see in this statement a political strategy of communication that seeks to confuse the population. Let us remember that this April 21st, 13.6 million Ecuadorians will go to the polls to mark our position regarding 11 questions, which speak of jobs, security, and international arbitration. This is the report.
On Wednesday, when Ecuador was preparing to face an 8-hour blackout, José Sanchez, mayor of Camilo Ponce Enriquez Canton, was assassinated. The prefect of the province of Azuay, in the department of the same name, located in the south of the country, Juan Cristobal Lloret, confirmed that the mayor was murdered in cold blood and 2 people who accompanied him met the same fate. The national authorities have not yet made any reference to this event, which is the second assassination that has shaken the nation in less than a month. On March 23rd, Bridget Garcia, mayor of San Vicente in Manabí, was executed. The president, Daniel Noboa, has issued a series of decrees, among them the increase of the VAT, the standard value added tax, with the promise to put an end to the violence that shakes Ecuador. Argentina submitted this April 18th a formal request to the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, to become a global partner of the alliance. The Minister of Defense of Argentina, Luis Petri, traveled to Brussels, Belgium, to participate in NATO meeting. On social network X, the minister published his meeting with Mircea Geona, NATO's Deputy Secretary General, to whom he presented the letter of intent expressing Argentina's request to become a global partner of that organization. Let us remember that NATO, whose founding agreements was signed on April 4, 1949 in Washington, D.C., is today the largest military bloc on the planet. With the incorporation of Finland and Sweden in 2023 and 2024 respectively, the alliance will have 32 member countries. In Latin America, Colombia is the only global partner of the alliance. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and more. Other stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back. In Palestine, during the 195th days of bombardments against the Gaza Strip, Israel has killed almost 34,000 Palestinians, while the number of civilians wounded exceeds 77,000. The occupation forces attacked the east, south, and southwest zones of the Gaza city, where they perpetrated multiple massacres and illegal arrests. The Palestinian authorities stressed that the civil defense does not stop in its effort to recover the bodies of the martyrs who remain under the rubble, despite the Israeli bombardments, especially in the places where thousands of displaced people take refuge. In Palestine, Israel intensified its airstrikes in the northern Gaza Strip as its military troops withdrew from the Nusayrat refugee camp, leaving more than 500 people dead. During the withdrawal, occupying forces blew up residential squares, inhabited towers, and other lands near Al-Mufti, north of Nusayrat. In addition, 520 Palestinians were confirmed dead during the Israeli operation, dozens were wounded, and more remain unaccounted for. The Ministry of Health reported that 6 massacres in the last 24 hours and detailed that the number of Palestinians killed increased to 33,899.
My son is lying in the hospital. His abdomen is open because of a shell that cut his abdomen. What else can I do? My God. End this war for God's sake. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Let us live.
We are unarmed. We have no weapons or planes or anything. The F-16s attack US day and night. The bombing against US does not stop. We were asleep in the room. They called us to order US to evacuate the houses. And even so, they bombed us while we were going out.
Russian government requests the United Nations Security Council to sanction Israel for non-compliance with resolutions. Russia's representative to the United Nations, Vasily Nevencia, called the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip catastrophic, while the Israeli region remains in its position of non-compliance with the resolutions issued by the international body. He also stressed that not even the celebration of the holy month of Ramadan could not get Tel Aviv to implement the ceasefire in Gaza. Therefore, Nevencia called for the investigation and punishment of the Zionist army in Tel Aviv for the crimes committed as part of the Palestinian genocide. The Commissioner General of the United Nations Agency for Palestine Refugees, UNRWA, Philippe Lazzarini, said that Israel has not provided any evidence of the alleged presence of Hamas militants in the organization teams. Following Israel's accusations, countries such as the United Kingdom, Canada, Germany, the Netherlands, and France, under the leadership of the United States, suspended their contributions. Meanwhile, other countries, such as Brazil, decided to increase their contributions. Almost 2 months after the accusation, the organization has not received any evidence. On the other hand, it does not have evidence of the torture inflicted on its personnel and of the arbitrary detentions to which they were subjected. Let's get into some context on this topic. In January, Israel accused 12 UNRWA staff members of alleged participation on the October 7th attacks. This number only represents 0.001% out of the total UNRWA employees in Gaza. At the moment, no evidence has been shown to back these claims. Later, the claims came to light. On the same day, the ICJ demanded Israel to take all necessary measures to prevent its troops from committing genocide in Gaza. Following this, more than 50 donors, including the U.S., suspended their funding to the United Nations agency in the wake of the allegations jeopardizing the United Nations operations. At last, UNRWA is currently the backbone of the humanitarian operations in Gaza, as well as one of the main sources of information on Israel actions in the area. We have a final short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience, you can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with teleSUR. Final short break. Don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. In Thailand, at least 160 people are reported injured after an ammonia leak at an ice factory in Chonburi province. Local authorities indicated that due to the ammonia leak, the nearby population experienced a nasal irritation and loss of consciousness. They also reported that workers and the local population within a 2-kilometer area were evacuated. Meanwhile, safety authorities say that the situation is under control and warned the population to avoid consuming food exposed to ammonia. Indonesian authorities warn of tsunami risk due to volcanic activity on Mount Rang. The Meteorological, Climatological and Geophysical Agency said that eruptions could cause tsunamis, but noted that so far the ocean has not shown any unusual behavior. 5 eruptions have been recorded from Mount Rang at an average height of between 1,800 and 3,000 meters. In this sense, the authorities have defined the risk zones and ordered the evacuation of tourists and residents, as well as the cancellation of activities at airports. In the Netherlands, the 2024 World Press Photo of the Year award was given on Thursday to a picture of a grieving Palestinian woman hugging the body of her little niece killed in an Israeli attack in the Gaza Strip. The 2024 award-winning photo was taken by Mohamed Salem of the Reuters news agency. The photo shows Inas Abu Ma'mar cradling the body of 5-year-old Sally, who died along with her mother and sister after a missile hit their home in Khan Yunis in southern Gaza just 10 days after the start of the ongoing Israeli genocide. The winning photos in 2024 were selected from 61,062 works and photographers from 130 countries. The photos will be exhibited in the New Kerk, a 15th century church in the center of Amsterdam until July 14th. We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.